Beloved Babas, dear children gathered here today, I am happy to wish you all, through Gulnar, a most loving Jai Meher Baba. It is so heartwarming to know of your love for Baba, who as avatar of the age came on earth to awaken all hearts in love for God. Beloved Baba loved us all very dearly, and now we must love him with all our hearts. In so many different ways, you can show your love for Meher Baba, who is omniscient and omnipresent. Remember him in all you do, and he will guide you to do what is right. It may not always be what you want, but in your love for him, you must ask yourself, what would Baba want me to do? And the answer from within you is always forthcoming. Baba says, the voice of intuition is my voice. There are so many guidelines to help you do what would please Baba. When you are loving and helping other people, you are loving and serving God. And when you love Meher Baba, pleasing him and obeying him are most important and dear to him and should be dear to you. When each of you tries 100% to do as Baba wants, he is surely near you helping you. To do so is often not easy, but with Baba's help it is not impossible. Beloved Avatar Meher Baba's coming on earth as man was to help us on our spiritual journey. Know that he does help and guide us on the path to the goal, which is to himself. And each one of us, sooner or later, knowingly or unknowingly, must undertake this journey. It is our journey to God, and by offering us his Daman to hold, beloved Baba is making the journey so much easier for us. So hold on fast to Meher's Daman with both hands and love him more and more. You are all so fortunate to love beloved Baba, for it is his love that you reflect in your hearts. Much love to you each and all, our dear family, ever in beloved Baba's eternal love, Mehra. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
I'll give you a copy, if you all want one. Yeah. Now, I'll first get on with my family history. And then Jehangir will continue with his. You see, I must first say that, Mehra, she's very fond of my mother, Pareen. My father is Bera, my mother's name is Pareen. I have an elder brother, his name is Sheryar. Then it's me, Gulnar, and then the twins, Rustam and Sora. Now, Shirin Ma, she was always sort of, she would always pester Baba on and on. Oh, why don't you get married? Or then she would go to, Behram and everyone. Somebody must get married in the family. I want a grandchild. Look at my friend. Look at her daughter-in-law. Look at her children. She was sort of. So, one day, Baba sort of told Behram. He said, you love me? Behram said, yes, Baba, I love you very, very much. Will you do anything for me? Yes, Baba. Any sacrifice? Anything, Baba. Of course, he didn't know what was coming to him. Then he said, then you do one thing. You get married and make Mama happy. Behram said, married? You know what he thought? He thought Baba said, you leave everything and come and stay with me. He said, Baba, but Baba, what am I earning? How am I going to, look after my wife and children? Of course, the family grows. Baba said, don't worry. My loving nazar will always be on you and the family. You don't have to worry at all. So then the search for the bride began. And Shirin Ma, she was a stickler for cleanliness. She liked beauty. She liked nice things. And she said, I'll go and search a nice bride for Bera. So, of course, she went to one or two good families, rich families, I still remember my father joking with my mother. I went to a family who could play the piano, he said. And he's telling me, Pari, you don't know how to play the piano. But, Behram said no. He said, no, I want a very simple wife. And Shehryarji, he just, sort of watched the fun, like, Shirin Mai going and, Then one day Shehryarji said, I know a very good girl. Now my mother's grandmother and Shehryarji were brother and sister. So Shehryarji said, I like Pareen. And my mother had a stepmother. So she was very unhappy. You know how stepmothers are. And the olden days, and now I don't know, of course. So she had a very unhappy childhood. And she was just 13 years old. So Shehryarji, of course, chose Pareen. And Shirin Mai, of course, said yes. And Behram said yes. And Baba was very happy about it. And so the marriage took place in 1933. And there was a grand celebration in Nasik. And my mother says, I remember the first Western Baba lovers were there. That's Elizabeth, Norina, Kitty. And she said, I still remember, she said, I was young as a bride. And she didn't know much about life, no education. And she said, I watched the fun, these ladies eating food, They had to sit on the ground. And usually in Parsi weddings, food is served on banana leaves. And, she said, I watched the fun, them picking up the food and the food trickling down. And again, So she said, that is a scene I can never forget. I remember that very well. And so the marriage took place and Baba had celebrations for 3 days. That was in Nasik. Now my mother did not conceive very soon. And Shirin Mai was very unhappy. And again, whenever Baba would visit his home, she would say, Meru, you say you're God, you're the avatar, but look at Pareen. I want a grandson. I want Shehryarji. I want my husband. So, because you see, why I'm telling you this story is that I asked my mother that what made you accept Baba as the avatar? Because we say, how did you come to Baba? So I asked my mother this question. Then she told me this incident. That she said, I did not conceive. And then Shirin Mai was very unhappy about it. And then Baba called my mother aside and he gave her a rose. And he said, you eat the petals and don't worry. And very soon my mother conceived. And so my elder brother Shehryarji, he was born. And so my mother said, I knew that who Baba was. And she had that faith, and she loved Baba very much. That is Shehryarji's birth. That's my elder brother, Shehryar. Now, I was born in Bombay. And, of course, how I got my name. When Baba came to know that Pareen had delivered a girl, Baba came to visit me in the hospital. And my mother said that when Baba came, I was not there in the room. She had gone to the toilet. And when she came out, she saw Baba holding me in his arms and playing with me. And Baba was very happy with Pareen. And he said, I'm going to call her Sunnu. Now, Sunnu actually means gold. Then my mother said, yes, Baba. My mother was very happy and all. In the evening, Shirin Mai came to know that Baba has named me Sunnu. She said, no. She said, how can it be Sunnu? It has to be my mother's name, Golendun. She told Baba that. She said, no, she said. Now then, Baba said, okay, we'll have a compromise. We'll call her Gulnar. Not Sunnu, not Golendu, but Gulnar. So, that is how I was named Gulnar. Then the twins, of course, for them, it was a very easy thing because Shirin Mai was not there then. So, now I don't exactly remember whether it was Satara or Nasik, anyhow, whichever place I don't remember. The twins were born and, a cable was sent to Baba that Pareen has delivered twin boys. And Baba told Mehra, twin boys, I got excitement in the family, twins. Baba said, now what shall we name them? So Mehra said, which are the better name? Rustam and Sora. Baba said, yes, Rustam and Sora. And so, Rustam and Sora. So I'm just saying a little bit of our family history, how we got our names Now, yes, now about my mother. Now, Shirin Ma, as I told you, she had a heart of gold, but she was very strict. So, my mother, as I told you, she was not educated, and she didn't know much about life or anything. She didn't even know how to cook. Shirin Ma was an excellent cook. So, one day it so happened that Shirin Ma had to go to the court. And she told my mother, now, Parin, you prepare a nice meal for me. And, Parsis are very fond of squash. Isn't it all called white pumpkin squash? She said, you make that and some nice rice. So when I come in the afternoon, I can have my meal. Now, my mother was a little bit scared of Shirin Ma. She loved her, but, mother-in-law, so she was scared. So she didn't say anything that I don't know how to cook, anything. She just kept quiet. Now, squash, at least in India, you have to taste because it is bitter at times. So my mother told me this story that she said, I just took a little bit of rice, I put it in a vessel, I just filled it up with water, and I kept it on the stove. I took the squash, cut it into pieces in the water to boil, and I just kept it on the stove. I didn't know what to do. Now, Shirin Ma came in the afternoon, and she said, Parin, is my food ready, my meal ready? So Parin said, yes. And she said, what is this? Porridge? What is this, rice? Okay, never mind. And she sat down to eat, and it was absolutely bitter and hopeless. She was so furious, so angry. She said, you don't know how to cook, your mother didn't teach you, this, that. My mother was so upset, she went on the veranda. We have a veranda in Baba house. She started crying. Mera loves to hear this story because she started crying. And then, Shirin Ma, she came and she said, why are you crying? Then she said, nobody has taught me cooking. So my mother said, why don't you teach me? You are my mother. She said, okay, now from tomorrow, you must stand with me in the kitchen and see how I cook and learn how to cook. So why I'm saying this, that my mother is an excellent cook today. And Mera loves to have meals cooked by her. So whenever Mera comes to Pune Club, or even in Merazad, my mother always sees that she sends cooked meals, for Mera and Mani, and even when they come to Pune Club. So Mera always likes to listen to this story, and she says, oh, that means Shirin Ma has taught you how to cook. She is an excellent cook. Now there is one, I don't know, maybe it's in Meher Prabhu, or at least I didn't know about this, but when Mani comes to Pune, the family, we get together, and we always tell, oh, Mani, Fui, we call her Fui, aunt. Tell us some stories about Baba, She said, you all know everything, but something little, But then she just told me this very important thing. She said, like Sheriyarji, of course, knew who Baba was. Shirin Ma also knew, but she didn't want to admit it. That's the only thing. Shirin Ma didn't want to admit it. But Sheriyarji would always stand up whenever Baba entered a room. Whichever room, like the family were, and if Baba entered that room, Sheriyarji would always stand up in respect. Now, nobody knew that, but then they observed, every time Sheriyarji would do that. And then they came to know that because of Baba, he would stand up in respect. Even then. Now, as I said that Shirin Ma knew who Baba was, but she didn't want to admit. There is another small incident which my mother told me. Once Baba wrote a letter to Shirin Ma saying that I'm coming with my Mandali, about 10 or 6 of them, and prepare a meal. So, my mother, she started cooking, and Baba came with about 10 or 12 of them. And when Shirin Ma saw that big group, she was very angry. She said, come here, Mero, you wrote to me 6 and you brought 12. I've cooked only for 6. I'm very upset with you. And she just went and sat on the bed. And Baba loved his mother. He tried to pacify her. He said, don't worry, everything is going to be fine and all that. He told Parina, you come in the kitchen with me and you serve me my meal first. And Baba had his meal. And he told Parina, you go and serve my Mandali. And my mother said, I served the Mandali. And no matter how much I gave them, the food never became less. So much food was left, and all had a very nice meal. And when they left, Baba went and embraced his mother and said, see, I told you, don't worry. And look, how much food is there? She didn't say anything. And Baba left with the mandali. And then, my mother said, she wouldn't eat her food, her meal. So my mother said, come on. Like we in Irani, we call our mother Memo. But we say like Mummy and Mama now. But in those days, like in Irani, we say Memo for the mother and Bobo for the father. She said, come on. And see, I told you, my mother saying, why are you upset? Didn't I tell you that so much of food is there? She said, don't you know my son is God? Don't you know, she said. So my mother said, yes, I do know that. I do know that. So, she knew it. But she didn't want to admit it. And this incident also is there. Of course, we say it's a miracle. But Baba would always say that I don't perform miracles. But what we say, like money tells us, it is His grace. It is Baba's grace and our faith in Baba. That which helps. Like an incident about, of course I'll come to that later on, the food being left over, Baba's grace as we say. When I was engaged and Baba came to Baba house, just for a small little celebration, Mera put the necklace on my neck, Baba's photo, and Baba was there, and sweets were distributed. And as soon as people came to know that Baba is in Baba house, people would come for his darshan. Now my mother has sent for just a small little, we call pedas, white sweet meat. I don't know, you all know about it. The Indian sweets. And my mother has sent for just a very little bit. But so many people came, and Baba started distributing as prasad. And of course, this incident of the Mickey, like Mani told me that I observed, she told me this, that Baba would keep on giving one here, one there, and he would do here like this. And Mani said, and there were so many people, Mani was literally pushed to the wall. And she said, I squatted down to see what is Baba doing like this and like this, but why down? And there was a dog, Mickey, sitting with his mouth open, having the prasad. And when Baba left Baba house, after distributing the prasad, it was still there, the prasad. So that is another incident which I have observed. So, once again, it is not a miracle, but Baba's grace. Now, I will tell you an incident. Of course, I think many of you all have visited Baba's room and Baba's stone. And I will just read out, where is it file? The extract from Mani's diary. I don't know if you all have read it. Jangu too much. Jangu will read it.
Mani has given us this extract to be put in Baba's room in Baba house. And this is a page from her diary which says that during a singing program by Begum Akhtar and also by Watwe, these are the two names of well-known singers in India who performed programs before Baba. In Mandali Hall at Merazad on 13th March 1962, Baba described the agony he suffered after returning home, that is Baba house in Pune, from Sakori. Of those agonizing 9 months, Baba said, after, when as dropped, I knew that I was the ocean. I did not want to come back to the ordinary consciousness from that state where I and I alone was, but the 5 perfect masters kept pulling me down. And to attain and retain this ordinary consciousness, I used to bang my head on the stone in my room at home, and blood would flow. For 9 months it was agony, and then I could retain it. That stone is still in my room, it is worshipped now, and in future the whole world would worship it. This is just a note given to us by Mani, because Baba, having undergone such agonizing 9 months, when the question comes of Baba having sacrificed so many things for the sake of humanity, this was the starting of Baba's spiritual ascendancy, and this is how the agony of 9 months took place. And Baba, as himself says, he was able to, these are all matters of high spiritual value, which we do not want to discuss. Everything is written in the books. But this is what the note says as far as Baba's 9 months, agonizing 9 months in that room.
Yes, and when, since we are talking of Baba's room, when Baba left Baba house as Meher Baba, he handed over his room to my father Behram and told him that you should now take care of my room. And even till today, my mother, looks after Baba's room. Now, obedience. Like Baba would always cite Behram's marriage as an example of obedience. Now, today there was going to be a program on the new life. So I will just say an incident that which happened during that time. Now we all know that in the new life, Baba had also told his Mandali, to have no contact with their families, no letters, nothing. Now, it was a night when just my dad Behram, Jal and myself were alone in Baba house. My mother and the twins, they had gone to Bombay to attend some wedding. My father was not too well, so I had to stay back. In the middle of the night, it was 2 o'clock, and there was a loud knock at the door. And my father rushed. Who could be in the middle of the night? And we all got up, Jal and myself, and it was Baba with his Mandali. Immediately Baba said, "Who's in the house?" Behram said, "Gulnar and Jal." Baba said, Gulnar should not see me. She should stay inside. And he went to his room and he sent messages with my father, asked Gulnar to serve tea, then bring hot water, and to take care of his needs and the Mandali's needs. Now, Baba house in those days, even now it is the same, but it has been, painted and, repaired, and we have to maintain Baba house. We cannot let it just fall. So in those days, we had the bathroom, which the wall was of tin, tin sheets, which had big holes in it. I still remember, you could peep through those holes right into Baba's room. Now, and the kitchen was just next to that, a small little kitchen. And, I kept on sending tea and warm water and napkin and, all that. And every time I said to myself, I'm sure Baba will call me. I'm sure Baba will call me. That longing was there all the time. And then I said, supposing I just peep through this hole, what will happen? I'll just have a look at Baba. But no matter how great the temptation, Baba also helped me to overcome it. I just stood there and Baba left. And before leaving, he told Behram, give my love to Gulnar. And I'm very happy with her obedience. That was an incident during Baba's new life. It was repeated again after a week. Baba once again came. He had been on some tour somewhere. He came again, and the same thing was repeated. The same longing was there, everything. But no, because obedience to your Lord, I feel, is the greatest thing that one can do. I was small, I was 8 or 9 years old. I have been educated in the convent. You see, Behram's financial condition was very bad. We were very, he did the best for us, education. But I loved the piano. And we had very good nuns. They were Swiss. And I was very good at it. But, I kept on pestering my father, buy for me a piano. My father said, I can't afford 3 proper meals and you want a piano? Well, where am I going to get for you a piano? But, I was a child, I kept on telling, Papa, I want a piano, I'm so good at it, see my marks, see my grades, and on and on and on. And he said, no, I cannot. I said, okay, hire a piano. He hired one for me. I was very good at it. Then one day, Behram wrote to Baba that, he just, of course, not as a complaint, but he said that Gulnar is very good and, she gets such good grades and this and that and all that. And I got a telegram, stop music lessons. And, stop music lessons. If she likes music, then the letter came, she can learn the sitar. My father was very good in sitar. I hated the sitar, but there was no compulsion on me. At least, Baba helped me in that. So, I mean, I had to give up my piano lessons. So, I mean, that is another example of obedience. Mani always tells, like Rustam and Sorab. She says, see, Gulnar was small and she obeyed Baba and she had to give up her piano lessons. So that is another example of obedience. Now I think, yes, another thing. You cannot hide anything from Baba. Even in Guru Prasad, Baba would play cards. All would get together. We would sort of say funny stories and jokes. And Baba would say, don't forget, I am God in human form. Don't for a moment forget. And I'm talking of 1954, I think so. I'm not very sure of the date. 1954. Baba had called me to Mahabaleshwar for my vacations. And Baba loved detective stories. And Mani had just started one of Agatha Christie. Now it so happened I had read that story. And like Mani would read every afternoon for an hour or so. And then Baba would ask, who do you think is the murderer? Who do you think? And she would say this, so and so, so and so. And Baba looked at me. Now, of course, my intention was not to hide, but then, I would just say some other name. And Baba would look at me and I would feel so guilty. I just didn't know what to do. Now, every day it went on and on. And the story came to an end. And I said, now it's safe for me to say who the murderer was. And I said it. And I was the only person who was right. And Baba said, he looked at me and he said, how is that, Gulnar? You are the only one who knew who the murderer was. I said, no, Baba, I'm sorry. I've read the book, Baba. Baba said, you cannot hide anything from me. I knew it. I said, yes, Baba, I know that you knew it. So, you cannot hide anything from Baba. Even your thoughts. That Jangu will say, another example. Even your thought, just a thought, Baba knows. Navjot, you got that thing? Yeah. Of course, my brother, Sheru, we call him Sheru in short. And my Navjot was, of course, it was done in Meherabad. First, Baba said, you go to the fire temple. We wear the sadra and the kasti. But halfway, it's not there. It may be in the book. Halfway, Baba said, you take out your sadra and kasti and wear your clothes, your dresses, the old clothes, and you come up to Meherabad. And there we had a grand feast. Baba put on the sadra and kasti for Sheru and myself. And as Baba said, this tying of the kasti is tying yourselves to me. We don't give importance to these rituals and ceremonies. Because my daughter Meherna's, her Navjot was done in Guru Prasad. And for the first time, Baba asked Mehra to do it. And Mehra put on the sadra and kasti for my daughter Meherna's. And this was, I've just copied it. I've got the original at home. You read it out.
So,
this was given to Meherna's.
You said, may Ahura Mazda, Zoroaster, Meher Baba, free you from the superfluous binding of the religious law and help you to lead a life of good thoughts, good words and good deeds, and bestow on you the grace of loving Baba. I have given you this emblem of superficial binding to make you free from this binding and give you the real binding of love. You see, this was a message given by Baba.
Now in 1962, we had floods in Pune. Now we have a well in our house, Baba house, and even today, people come and, use water for many other, drinking purposes, washing clothes, or whatever it is. But I'm talking of 1962 when there were floods in Pune, there was no water in Pune. Wherever there were wells, people would just throng by hundreds. Not a drop of water. You can imagine what the city of Pune must be undergoing. And in Baba house, you would see hundreds of people. So, and they started using that water for drinking. Now, we had not used that water for drinking purposes for many years. So, Behram was very much concerned about it. And Baba was in Guru Prasad. So, Behram went and told Baba that, Baba, people are drinking, using this water for drinking purpose, and I'm worried, So Baba said, you go and get some water and Behram, of course, he filled up a bottle. He took that water to Guru Prasad. Baba had a little bit of it, just a few, sips. And he said, you throw that water again in the well. And you can now, it's quite all right if people use it for drinking purposes. And so, people started using it, and even till today they use it. Baba visited Baba house the next day, looked at the well, and he showed great concern for the level of the water. So, and even now, the level of the water has never gone down, whether it's summer, winter, monsoons, or anything. And people from the south, especially when they come for Baba's Amar Tithi, they all carry, this water to their homes as prasad to be distributed amongst their friends and relatives, whoever they, those who cannot visit India. So, that well is very, very precious. Now, I think we'll get on to the story of Jangu. Yeah. Then I will say in between. let Jangu start. Then you see, people ask me. Nobody can ask me, how did you come to Baba? I said, I was born in the family. That story I cannot tell you. But you ask Jangu that question, and he'll tell you. So now Jangu.
So as she says, you see, when Baba lovers come to Baba house, we meet them, and when I am alone, naturally the question is, I would say, I am Jangu. Oh, well, are you related to the family? So in the beginning, I would always introduce myself, well, I am Jangu, Baba's brother Behram's daughter Gulnar's husband. Oh, I said, that's a very, very long introduction. I told Baba, I said, show me a short and a very nice introduction. So I thought Baba led me to the way. He said, well, if the Duke of Edinburgh were to be asked, he'll say, naturally, I am the Duke of Edinburgh, the Queen's husband. So I said, now I am Jangu, Gulnar's husband. So that is how a short introduction. And then the next question is, please tell us how you came to be in Baba's family. Well, I said, the question is short, but if you want me to answer, it's like, for me, it's like a chapter from a fairy tale. For that, you will have to give me a long time, for which you will have to be patient to listen to the whole story as to how I came to be in Baba's family. So, and naturally, if someone has the time, we sit together and talk. So, since you have given me this chance today, so I will have to now take you back to the year 1956, when I first came to Pune as a young gay bachelor from a place in South India which is known as Bangalore, where I was working as an airplane maintenance engineer, and I was transferred to Pune. At that time, my salary, I should say, was very encouraging. In terms of dollars, it was $40 a month, and I had to find a place wherein I could feed myself, live, and go to work. And so I met an old Parsi gentleman. I read the name Edward Hotel just behind the Pune railway station, and I thought this is a nice sounding name, and I prayed to God, please God help me to find a cheap place where I can stay within my salary. And so I met an old Parsi gentleman who owned that place. He expired now. His name was Jal Doradji. Later on, of course, I came to know he was Baba's boyhood friend. They had played marbles when they were young boys going to school in Meher Mullah, because he was also staying over there where Baba was staying. And he was a great admirer of Baba, a golden-hearted old man who was a caterer. And so he gave me a room and he said, I'll charge you $15 a month. Oh, I thank God. I said, $15, including breakfast, lunch, dinner? Yes, he says. Well, I said. So I found a place and I started going to my work. I was very happy. Everything was fine. I thought, now, God is very grateful to God that I'm very happy now in Pune. And so I became so friendly with the owner of this hotel that I almost became a member of his family. He, gave me the treatment like he would treat his sons. You see, today, one of his sons, Marazban, he is a youngster, he is also my friend. He would always quarrel with his son, and I would always go and patch up their quarrels. And he would say, oh, look, Jehangir, this boy, he's not working, he's a useless fellow. And then I would patch up their quarrels. And so, days went by, and he became my local guardian. After staying there for a year, one fine morning, He says he would call me Jehangir Ji. You see, this Ji is suffixed to an elderly person, you see, not to a youngster like me, but he would always call me Jehangir Ji. So he said, Jehangir Ji, now you must get married. One fine morning, he, like a ton of bricks, he threw that proposal. I said, what? Jal uncle? I said, marriage? I said, for God's sake, don't talk of marriage. I said, my salary is hardly anything. I can't maintain myself. You're talking of marriage. No, he says, you don't worry about it. It is God who will take care of that. You must get married. No, I said, I'm not going to get married because I'm going back to my place of work. I'm not going to stay in Pune. And he was after me to get married. And I was determined to put him off the track, and I said, marriage is not for me. And this went on for about a month or two. And so I thought I was smart enough to throw him off the track, and I said, all right, if I get a better job, I promise you that I'll consider your proposal. So he says, you promise me? I said, yes. So he took it as a promise from me. And I thought that everything was fine, everything was forgotten, I will never get a better job, I'll go back and the whole thing will be forgotten. After a month, I received a letter from a friend of mine in Bombay saying that, Jangu, you chuck your present job, I have got a new job waiting for you in Bombay. The salary is 3 times the salary that you are drawing at the moment. Well, I looked at the letter and I was very happy. So I took that letter to Jal. I said, uncle, I said, look, here is a letter. So he read that letter. He says, you promised me that if you get a good job. So I said, well, promise is a promise. So he told his son Marazban, says, now you take Jehangir to Behram's house. Leave the rest to me. You just introduce him to the family and leave everything to me. And so most reluctantly, I told Marazban, his son, I said, look, not more than 5 minutes in any house. I said, I am not going anywhere, I said. So he took me to Behram's house, introduced me to the whole family, and within 5 minutes I said, now let's get back. So he went over there and talked things over with Behram and Pareen. I know this boy, he's very good, he's this, that, so he gave a beautiful picture about me. But Behram says, look, Jal, he's not from Pune, he's not a Baba lover. How can we consider him? Because there was a beeline for Gulnar's hand in marriage. There were so many, 5 or 6 of the young eligible bachelors who had already thrown in their full strength, family strength. There were boys from Bombay who knew Baba. There were some boys from Pune who were, wealthy business people's sons. And Behram said, look, these are all the 5 names. So Jal said, for my sake, just put down this boy's name. I know you are going to ask Baba, because he knew Baba also. So Behram said, unless we ask Baba, we cannot say yes or no. So Behram said, just write his name. And so Behram wrote my name as the 6th name in that list of all the eligible bachelors. And so Mani wrote to Behram saying that Baba is in Mahabaleshwar in December 1957. Yes. And come down and Baba will talk to you and decide. So Behram went to Mahabaleshwar with that list. So as usual, Baba said, come on, what are the names? So Behram said, Baba, number 1, so-and-so, he knows our so-and-so relative in Bombay, restaurant owner. Baba said, chuck it, what's the next name? Who's you? They are all very wealthy. Baba says, no good. The 3rd name, who is it? Any more names? So 3rd check. Baba said, no. 4th, no. 5th, no. Baba said, no good. Then Behram said, no, Baba, now the main names are over, but have you got any other names? So Behram said, nah, Baba, now there is only one, but the family doesn't like. Baba said, but read out the name at least to me. So Baba said, Behram said, Baba, this Jal Dorabji has sort of pressed me to write his name, but we don't know the boy. We don't know the family. He is all alone. He is not earning anything. How will he look at? Baba said, what is his name? So then Behram read out the name. Baba, it is Jehangir Sukhadwala. Baba says, that's the boy for Gulnar. So Behram said, Baba, you have selected a boy whom we don't know. Baba said, now you asked me, so I have given you my answer. You go back and tell the family. So Behram came to Pune and announced that Baba has selected the last boy whom none of us wanted to get married. And so Gulnar also had some doubts, and so then she will tell you this incident, and then I'll proceed further.
Of course, when my dad came back and said, Baba has selected Jehangir, and of course we said whatever Baba says. But then, as the days went by, I started having doubts. I said, but he's not a Baba lover. How do I know how much he's going to love Baba? Will I be happy with him? and so on and on. So I told my father, I said, Papa, I mean, I'm not happy about this marriage. He said, then you talk it over with Baba. Why don't you ask Baba yourself? So in March, Baba had come to Ganesh King. That's in Pune. And there was a program over there, and we were invited. And many people were sitting over there. And Behram, my mother, myself, Rustam, Sora, we all were there. And Behram had already told Baba that Gulnar wants to ask you something. But in front of everybody, Baba's asking, what do you want to ask me? And I looked at all and I said, Baba, Baba, I just stood up and I said, Baba said, come on, speak up. I mean, it's all right. I said, no, Baba, but Jehangir, I want to ask you. I mean, of course, you have selected him. But how do I know, I said. I mean, I want sort of an assurance from you. I want you to tell me. How do I know that, I mean, he loves you and he's a Baba lover? Baba said, you're mad? He said, you're only seeing to his present birth now. But what do you know of the thousands of years of connection which I have with him? He is my gem. He said, he's my diamond. Then, of course, I said, yes, Baba. And, that sort of made me happy. And now you continue.
So then, Baba came to Guru Prasad 1958 early, and having selected me, naturally, Baba said, send a photo of the boy I have selected. So Behram sent my picture to Baba. And naturally, it was circulated in the women Mandali and Meher Baba, everybody saw. And then Baba said, then now you get the boy to Guru Prasad. Let me see what he looks like. So I remember we both went on a cycle, Behram and myself, and I put on a nice shirt and pant, I was going to Meher Baba. And that was the first time Baba was sitting in Guru Prasad in the men Mandali hall. It was a hot month, beginning of May, I think.
May.
And Baba did not have no sadra, he was on his silken shorts. Baba was looking so beautiful. He was looking pink, radiant, glowing his face. Just as I stepped in, Baba gave one look at me, and I felt as if I had met my real father and mother combined in Baba. I mean, I never felt a stranger in front of Baba. Baba hugged me. He said, well, you look very nice, Baba says. I said, yes, Baba. I mean, the conversation was so normal. Baba said, now you sit down. You can come and go anytime you want to Guru Prasad. I am very happy. Are you happy? I said, yes, Baba, I am very happy with you. And as if I was never a stranger before him. I felt as if I had met Baba earlier. There was no question of any strangeness, anything. And I just sat down as if I had been going to Baba earlier. Baba said, for you, there are no restrictions. You can come and go and meet me anytime you want. And so, and then, you see, after Baba went inside, naturally, you see, as I was sitting in the room, then Baba sent Gaver, you tell all the girls to come and see. Guru Prasad had those wooden louvers, in the door. So I think all the girls had a peep through all those louvers. And Mani came out on the veranda and met me. And then that was the first introduction with Baba. Now, Baba, before he left Guru Prasad, he called both of us and said, Django, get married in 6 months' time. That was in May 1958. Now, why I'm emphasizing this is, as Gulnar told someone, that it is not that because we do not carry out what Baba says, we get into trouble. But as Mani always said, Baba is so compassionate that at the human level, he tries to help us in our worldly problems also, but with our limited intellect, you see, we try to do things our way. And that is why we always get into trouble.
I mean, like, Mani said, we say, oh, because we didn't do this, we are being punished. We are not being punished by Baba. I mean, it is because of our own, Baba knows what is to happen. He tries to save us. It is not, Baba is not punishing us. It is our own mistakes that we are being punished. So like, it's not I'm not talking of punishment right now when he tells you this incident. But the suffering that we had to undergo. And if we had just done, of course we were prepared. The circumstances were such that we couldn't carry out Baba's word. Like Baba says, do this and you immediately do it, it's the best. But then, Baba is so very compassionate. The Jangu will tell this story.
So Baba said, get married within 6 months. So I, yes, Baba. And then I wrote to my parents, I pleaded with them. My brother-in-law had expired, so my parents said, no marriage in the family for 1 year. So I wrote back to Mani saying that, Mani, I have tried my best, but my parents said that no marriage for 1 year. So Mani spoke to Baba. Baba says, don't worry, forget about it. If it is 1 year, it is 1 year. As long as your parents have agreed, don't have this problem on your mind, you forget it. And
yes, but Baba said the date.
Wait.
I've got that letter with me.
So then in consultation with Parin, Behram, Gulnar, myself, it was fixed for 16th October 1959.
Yeah.
So it is almost a year and 3 months after Baba said you should get married instead of 6 months. Now the days went by and 59 was approaching, and 3 months or 2 months before October, we started our wedding preparations. And you know, money was always a limited factor in the family, and Behram would always joke with me that, Jangu, I am not only a sick man, but there is always a great deficiency of vitamin M with me. And so he was a very humorous man. With all that, Behram was tremendously humorous and a very stout-hearted person. And so he was a man having duodenal ulcers. And before I come to that, there were a couple of humorous incidents, you see, which Behram told me one day. He says, look, Jangu, in Nasik, we had a gathering on Baba's birthday. And you know, people would bring gifts for Baba. So someone would bring a coconut, someone would bring a sweetmeat box. And in the gathering, someone had brought golden buttons and golden cufflinks. So after the program, you know, Baba would take a coconut and say, come on, take it. So he would give it to X. Take a sweetmeat box and he would throw it to. And so Baba would distribute all the gifts which he had received. So Behram was praying that, Baba, at least I should receive the golden cufflinks so that I could sell it and make some money out of it. And so the last thing, Baba took the cufflink and said, Behram, here, take it. So he threw at Behram. And Behram caught the cufflinks. He was so happy. And Baba told everyone, now that the program is over, all of you go. So Behram put the cufflinks in his pocket and walked away. And as he walked away, Baba clapped. He says, come back. You give me those cufflinks. He said, someone in the crowd deserves it more than you. So Baba threw it at somebody else. So Behram said, Jangu, even that way. And in a very humorous way. So days went by. And another incident which I would say is, you know, we pray to Baba that he is omniscient, he is omnipresent, he is all-knowing, he is all-knowledge. So we were standing in Guru Prasad Darshan line. This was before our marriage. We were engaged. There was a long queue of darshaners, you see. And as usual, we would be the last to stand in the queue. We would never go forward. We would take our turns regularly. And I was standing well behind the queue for Baba's darshan. And I was to go to Bombay on that particular day by the afternoon train. There is a train which takes you from Pune to Bombay in the afternoon at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was in the queue at about 2 o'clock, and looking to the number of people before me, I thought that, you know, a thought flashed across my mind. I saw it and I said, Baba, I should cancel my program of going to Bombay, because I feel that by the time I have your darshan, it will be 5 o'clock in the evening. So I signaled to Gulnar, who was standing in the ladies' line. I said, I will not go, forget about it. I won't go to Bombay. As I thought, a rush clapped from there, and everybody started, where is called Jangu, 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 Jangu. It came down the line. He says, you are being called over there. So Baba says, just he did that, come on, take darshan, off you go, he said.
Just the thought.
Just a thought flashed. How could, I mean, out there were thousands of people standing over there. You mean, Baba would not miss a single person's thought. I mean, this was a personal example of how all-knowing Baba is. And so days went by, happily we started preparing for the wedding.
I'll just say that. Now before the wedding, Baba called me to Mehrazad. Just as a treat, you know, to be with Mehra and Mani. And for 4 days. Then Behram came to fetch me home. And just before leaving, Baba told me, I mean, I still remember we had tea together. Baba gave me a little bit, you know, of the tea that which he had. And Baba stood up with Mehra on his right, money on his left. And he told me, remember, you're getting married now, but you have to always love me first, then Mehra, then money, then your husband, then your parents and your brothers. So, sort of that is what Baba told me. And then, of course, he said, when, your true source ready, you bring everything to Mehrazad and sort of, come and show it to Mehra and money. And so the wedding preparations
were on. So now, a month before the wedding, Baba was in strict seclusion. And Mani had said, unless there is a dire emergency, Baba said you should not disturb.
No, but before September 30th, Baba called us.
Yeah. Sorry. So Baba was in strict seclusion, but I am now talking that we have come almost to the month of August 1959, September beginning, and the wedding was on 16th October 1959. So Mani wrote that Baba wants all of you to come to Mehrazad on 30th September with all Gulnar's clothes and everything so that they could have a nice day in Mehrazad. So we all went to Mehrazad. I remember Harry Kenmore was there and we had a fine lunch with Baba. Baba personally took us around the garden, showed every tree which is tended so lovingly by Mehra even today, and we had a nice afternoon, played records.
Rings on the finger.
And then Baba placed the rings on my finger. And in our Parsi wedding we have a big black cap. So Baba says, now you look like a real old Parsi. So he slapped the cap on my head. Now he said, now you look like a bridegroom, he said. And on Gulnar's fingers he put the rings, and it was such a beautiful day we had with Baba. In the afternoon, it started raining cats and dogs in Mehrazad. And I am talking of the earlier days in Mehrazad. The road which leads you to the Mandali hall, at that time, it had a very deep dip underneath. It was not on level. And so every time it rained, there was water there and no car could go out of Mehrazad or no car would come into Mehrazad. And
so it was known as what? Shendi?
No, it was Shendi Nalo.
That's very different.
So it was raining cats and dogs, and as we were sitting with Baba, by Baba's, Mandali, a member of Mandali, Baidul, you have heard of Baidul, with the old man. So he came running and he said, Baba, he says that road is washed off, these people can't go back to Pune. Now, I'm citing this, that how difficult it is for Baba to hide the fact that he is the Almighty. But at the human level, he always played it in such a fine and subtle manner that he would always make it look that he was a normal human being. So he joked with me, he said, Jangu, look, you can't go back to Pune. So I said, Baba, what should we do? He said, you will sleep here. I said, well, we are absolutely happy, Baba. No, he says, wait, all of you, I don't want all of you on my chest. So he says, wait, I will pull Baidul's beard 3 times. And if the rain stops, you all go, otherwise you sleep here. And so he called Baidul and he pulled it 3. He said, now you go and see and come back and report to me after half an hour what happens to the rain. So, Baba in his beautiful way, as I always say that without Baba's will, not a leaf moves in this universe. And so Baidul comes back after half an hour. He says, Baba, the rain has stopped, the water has receded. So didn't I tell you that Baidul's magic beard, if I pull for 3? And so Baba said, now all of you go back. And so the DeSoto was the present DeSoto, which is used once in a way. Baba would always send the DeSoto and to put us to the bus stand. Just before we all went, Baba gave a very, very specific order to Gulnar and Parin. He says, both of you listen very carefully. When you go back to Pune, both of you must take bed rest for 3 days. 1st, 2nd and 3rd September. I said, yes, Baba, it's an order. So nobody knew. We were all a bit perplexed as to why Baba has given this order. But since it was an order, it was an order. And so after we went back, all the men had to look after their own food because Gulnar and Parin kept sleeping on the bed the whole day.
And you were very happy to do it.
But now, the good part of it comes to an end in the sense that Behram, being a patient of duodenal ulcers, on the 5th of October,
4th
Fourth night, he had a perforated ulcer. And Behram was in such agony that we had to move him physically in an ambulance to a doctor's hospital. Now, the wedding was there on 16th of October and Behram had a perforated ulcer on the 4th of October night. Everything about the wedding was forgotten. There was a dire emergency and we moved him physically to the hospital in Pune. At that time, Pune had limited number of hospitals and there was an old surgeon with 35 years of experience.
Yes, fine. Thank you.
And so we took Behram to him and Gulnar was in tears. I mean, we all were so depressed and sad and Gulnar went and told the doctor that, doctor, we don't know what to do. Our wedding is fixed for the 16th of October. And so he says, well, I feel there is going to be a tragedy. Your father may not live because he was already weak and I have to perform an emergency operation tonight itself just to temporarily close the ulcer, but after 3 months I'll have to perform another major surgery on him. So there we were against a wall. We didn't know what to do.
Now, Baba was in very strict seclusion, but Baba has said that, I mean, any emergency in the family or anything, you can always inform Mani. So, I mean, we sent a cable to Mani to inform Baba as to what has happened. Now, you see, Behram's operation was over and as the doctor said that...
He had 24 stitches from here to here. It was cut open because he had to look for the perforated ulcer. You see, it was an emergency operation.
Then,
so he had 24 stitches.
Then I got a cable from Baba. I'll read it out. I've still got the original cable with me. Yeah. Baba says, go ahead with wedding plans. Do not worry. Leave to Baba. Letter follows. Then the second telegram was for Behram. Baba says, do not worry. Baba is with you. All will end well. And the third was, of course, to Jal. Received telegram and phone. Have wired Behram. Inform Jangu. Now, why I'm reading this out to you is that when I got these telegrams, my father was unconscious. But I don't know, I had this sort of a strong urge in me that no matter what, I must go and read it out to him, whether he hears it or not. So I went right up to his ear and, I read out the telegrams. And I just said, Baba, now you take care of Behram. Then the next day, late in the evening, after 2 days I feel, Behram was conscious and he was sort of in a point of recovering. And the doctor came and that, of course, Jangu will tell you that part because he was there with the doctor. One thing I asked my father is, I said that, how is that you're feeling so much better and what made you recover? He says, I knew that I was not going to die. Because when Baba says, go ahead with wedding plans, I know when there is a death in the family, a wedding cannot take place. Yes, that's what he told me. And another thing is that Baba says, I am with you, all will end well. And I knew everything was going to end well. That is the explanation he gave me. He said, I knew that nothing is going to happen to me. Now, Jangu will tell you what the doctor said about Behram.
Every day we would go and press the doctor, you see. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, Behram was in absolute great pain and we would ask the doctor, what do you say about the wedding? No, he says, you people are mad. How can you get married when your father is in such great pain? Either you postpone. No, we said we have received telegrams from Meher Baba saying, go ahead. So will he be able to attend the marriage? He says, well, you all can go, but he is not going to go out of my hospital for 3 months. And every day Gulnar would go, then after that I would go and ask the doctor. So he also perhaps he thought that we were a bit, off our heads. And so 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th of October. So we again went and approached him and said, doctor, please tell us. So perhaps he got so fed up of us, he said, well, now don't come and ask me again, but I'm going to open up the bandages just to redo them after checking the wound. Because it's a 24 stitches are there and it's a long wound and at least for a month it is not going to heal. But anyway, since you have been so worried about it, I will open it up. And it was, I think, the 11th of October. So he opened it and the doctor actually got a shock when he opened the bandages. He came out and we were looking at the doctor's face, what is the news? He says, well, he says, I don't know. I have got 35 years of surgical experience, but I have not found anyone healing so fast. He says, the wound has healed. I said, what did you say, doctor? He says, the wound has healed. I said, really? But you said 1 month. No, he said, he himself was so perplexed. But I said, now what can we move him? He says, well, now that the wound has healed, you wait for another day or two. I will make him walk a little and then I'll let you know. So 50% of our hopes came back that at least we might be able to take him home, if not to Bombay. Because we had decided that we will get married in Bombay. You know why? See, we had to, because we have so many relatives and friends in Pune that if we get married, we have had to spend a lot of money. So we decided that we will move to Bombay. And so the wedding was to be in Bombay. And so on the 13th of October, he gave permission to Behram to just walk a few steps in the room. You will not believe, we purchased his ticket. 16th morning, we lifted him, put him in Deccan Queen. That was the day of the marriage. We went to Bombay. Behram attended the marriage, and 17th, we all came back to Pune. And Baba's words came true that everything will end fine. So Behram attended the wedding in Bombay. Now that was one part of our life. Now you see, the sore point with me was always my job. See why? Because
is it time, but I mean, is it time?
Have you got the time? Because we don't want to keep you waiting, you see, because otherwise, it's like a telefilm, it will go on and on. And so the sore point with me was my job, because I was struggling hard to settle down in Pune and to earn more. Because one thing I forgot to tell you, that after the whole thing was planned, my friend wrote a letter from me from Bombay after the engagement took place that I am very sorry, the job which I had promised you in Bombay, I cannot give you because that project is off. So I put my hands on my head and I said, my God, Baba had pulled the plank out under my feet. He says, well, you are not smart enough to say you are not going to get married. So now that the whole thing is fixed, and I was back to square one with my old job of $40 a month. And here I was, a much married man, and I didn't know what to do. So the struggle started for finding a better job in Pune. Every time Baba would ask me, what happened to your job? Because he knew the sore point, you see. I said, Baba, I said, I am trying hard. I have been to so many interviews. He says, how many? I said, Baba, perhaps at least 30, 40 interviews. So nobody gave you a job? He said, no, Baba. I said, no, don't worry. Have a stout heart. Keep trying, he says. And so kept on trying and trying. And in the meanwhile, I was transferred back to Bangalore. And so with Gulnar and a carriage, railway carriage full of equipment, we moved to Bangalore.
Same baggage, pots and bags.
So before we moved,
problem I'm having now.
So before we moved to So before we moved to Bangalore, I went with a very small face to Baba. I said, Baba, I'm not very happy to go to Bangalore. I said, I want to stay in Pune. Bangalore, you will enjoy, you go to Bangalore, he said. So I was very happy, he said. So we went to Bangalore, and I had, whatever gifts we had collected on the wedding, I had about 3,000-4,000 rupees, and we went to Bangalore. We found a house, again, the usual rigmarole of a married life, searching for a house and buying furniture, and then money started dwindling, and Gulnar fell ill, and she was hospitalized. So I had a little money in my pocket now, so what to do? And I thought that, so we moved her to a hospital, and after 15 days, the bill came to me, which was double the amount of money I had in my pocket. So I rushed to a friend of mine. He was also a Baba lover. He was fortunately in Bangalore, and I said, please give me a loan of some money, because he said, what happened? I said, Gulnar is in hospital and I need some money very badly. So he gave me a loan, and I started working back with my boss in the factory to send me back to Pune, because I was so frustrated. I had no money, we had no proper house, Gulnar in the hospital, I had to look after my work, I had to look after her, and as usual, Behram said, extreme deficiency of vitamin M, which was a perpetual problem. And so I was after my boss. I said, he was another Parsi gentleman, so I said, his name was Group Captain Kharas. I don't know if you have heard of Meenu Kharas of Karachi, he was a relative. So I said, boss, I said, I want to get back to Bangalore. You are a mad Parsi. He said, you will go back on half your salary. I said, what? As it is, I am drawing less salary. You want me to send me on half my salary? He said, that's the rule. I said, doesn't matter. I am prepared to go back on even half the salary, but I don't want to remain in Pune because there is nobody to look after us. He also thought that, I had gone a bit loco. So ultimately, he transferred me back to Pune. Now we sold all the furniture. We came back to Pune in the month of February. So Baba as usual came to Guru Prasad in April, and I wanted to go and say, Baba, what a horrible time we had. So Baba looked at me, he says, you are looking very nice and fat. You must have had a good time in Bangalore. I said, what do you mean, Baba? I was so miserable, no money. Baba said, how can you say that? See, look at your cheeks, look at you, you are so fat, you must have. And I said, what did I say? I said, no, Baba, I said, I had a very bad time. Now don't worry. You have come back to Pune permanently. I said, yes, Baba. Anyway, it's God's wish that you have come back to Pune. But now what about your job? Now he started again, putting that pin on the sore spot. I said, now I'll try again for a better job in Pune. You keep trying, don't worry. I will help you, he said. This went on and on and on. So Baba would, when people would come for darshan, Baba will say, look, he would tell Ghaver, you write to your brother, he is working in a big company, ask him for a job for Jambu. Somebody will come, he'll tell Eraj, you would ask him to write about it. And it went on, and this went on for about 10 years. And I was also... And in between, you see, there's a very nice thing that I had no house of my own, so I was staying in Baba house. So every morning before we could go to work, this became a practice that we would go to Baba's room, bow down to Baba, and then go to work. So one day I stepped out of Baba's room, and I looked up, above Baba's house. You could see a house just behind Baba's house. And just as I came out, I looked up, and I saw an apartment, a window, and an old lady combing her hair. Just a thought flashed past my mind, just out of Baba's room. I said, Baba, if I could get an apartment just near Baba's house, it would be so nice. And I went to work and everything was forgotten. After 15 days, a friend of mine, caught hold of me on the road where I'm staying now in Pune. He says, Jangu, he says, you told me once, a month ago, that you are in need of an apartment. I said, yes, have you got one? No, he says, there is a photographer somewhere nearby whose apartment is going to be vacant. I said, is it? If he is a photographer, then Behram is a photographer. So I rushed to Behram. I said, Papa, this photographer has an apartment going vacant. I said, do you know him? He says, who is that photographer? So his name is one Mr. Gonzalez. I know that Jack, he's an old friend of mine. So both of us, we went to Jack Gonzalez on Mahatma Gandhi Road in Pune. He has a studio there. So both of them met after so many years. So Behram, after so many years, what brings you here? Oh, hello Jack, both of them shook hands, good friends. So what brings you here? He said, Behram said, no, I heard that you have an apartment to be rented out. Yes, for whom do you want? No, my son-in-law doesn't have any house. Oh, you want it for his son-in-law? Yeah, take it. So he shook hands. So he said, take it. Now, where is that apartment? So he came with us to show the apartment. So he took us up to that building where I am staying now on second floor. Through the window, I could see Baba house right below. I told Gulnar, this is the same apartment where the lady was combing her hair.
And he had wished for it.
And you see, that a wish, so as Mani always says, Baba gives you what you need, never what you want. And so we have settled in that apartment. Now the story about the job went on, and every year Baba would come, I would go.
Before that, say about Papa's, then because
Yes.
that will end up with Guru Prasad.
See, and Behram and I would always be paired to go to Meherazad. Whenever Mani would call, he said, Behram and Jangu, Baba has called you for taking films. We would take Baba's 16mm films, which now are in Myrtle Beach, the originals. And so, there was a music program in Meherazad. Now, Behram was a chain smoker, you see. And he would drink a lot of tea, and he was a chain smoker. So one day Baba said, what is this? You keep on smoking. Don't you know it will affect your health someday? Behram said, now Baba, what have I got to lose? I have no money. My health is bad. Now at least let me smoke. If I have to die, I'll die. Why do you want to stop me from smoking? So Baba said, all right, you keep smoking, but be careful. So Behram said, Jhangu, now what have I got to live for now? Let it be. Let me smoke at least. So one day, You see, and I was almost a person who would take care of Behram, and look after the twins' lessons, that sort of a thing. And so Behram developed a thick patch inside his cheek. So in Pune there is a Parsi doctor, a young surgeon, and perhaps the best surgeon in Pune, but a most hot-headed and an extremely bad-tempered doctor. So if you go to him, he will only talk to the patient. Whereas how the families are, we want to know, doctor, will he get well? What food should I give him? So he'll say, did I talk to you? Why do you talk to me? You go out, get out of my office. And he would not, a very rude man, but an excellent surgeon, and a man with a golden heart. Not a cheat. He would not charge patients. He would treat patients free. And from the beginning, because we have been going, he would never take any fees from us. So one day Baba asked me, who is the doctor you go to? This was before this incident. So I said, Baba, there is a young doctor, a Parsi doctor, Bharucha, his name is. Best doctor, you catch hold of him, he said. He told me years ago. So every time he would, treat us so rudely, but we would keep on going to this doctor. So one day he asked me, he said, why do you come to me? I said, doctor, because Meher Baba told me to catch hold of your hand, so we are coming to you. Even if you throw us out, we are going to come back to you. And so I took Behram to him, and I said, now what's the matter with you mad people? He said, he would talk like this.
You jungly Iranis. You jungly Iranis. You always say that to us.
You must. So I said, he must be drinking a lot of, no, he's a teetotaler. Then you must be smoking. Yes, he smokes a lot. Then why do you come to me? It is cancer. I'll have to cut the whole cheek and throw it. So now when he said that, he threw it like a ton of bricks, and we were all depressed in the house. My God, Behram has gone. Now I said, in addition to all the problems, question of money, operation, again cancer, such a serious thing. And Baba was in seclusion. Things are not to be written to Baba or told to Baba. So we waited for an opportunity when money would call us to Meherazad, and some pretext, naturally I would tell this to Baba. And so there was a program to be held in Meherazad, and we received a letter from Mani saying that Baba wants Behram and Jhangu to come and attend the program. So I was so happy. I said, Papa, now, because the moment we go, usually Baba would ask, did you sleep well? How are you? These are the typical standard questions Baba would ask. So the moment Baba asked me, I told, how is your health and all? I will rattle out the whole thing, you don't worry, I told him. So we went to Meherazad Mandali Hall, and where Erat sits today, that was the corner where we were sitting. And music program went on, and Baba was in a beautiful mood. And for about an hour and a half, Baba never looked at us today. When we went inside also, the program was over and Baba clapped. Now all of you out from this Mandali Hall. So I nudged Behram, I said, Papa, now today Baba is not even looking at us, no chance to talk. So Behram said, now let it go, whatever is going to happen will happen now, forget about it. So we all went outside the Mandali Hall. So Iraj clapped, he says, Jhangu, both of you, Baba wants you back. So we had gone almost to the bus, so we came back to the Mandali Hall. Baba says, what's wrong with both of you sitting with long faces when such a beautiful music program is going on? He says, are you both of you sick or what? He says, everybody was cheerful, and both of you, I saw long pulled up faces. What's wrong with you? So the moment he said, I rattled out. I said, Baba, such a thing happened, Behram has got cancer. Now, which barber told you it is cancer? I said, Baba, he is the best doctor in... No, he said, he must be a barber, he is not a doctor. I said, Baba, that doctor, he is an absolute strong-headed man. He told me it is cancer. I am telling you, it is not cancer. I said, that is true, Baba. You said, you go and tell the doctor, Meher Baba says it is not cancer. I said, Baba, that man is going to throw me out physically. He is such a hot-headed doctor. It is my order, you go and tell him. And he says, why are you worried? You people are worried about small things in life. I said, small, Baba, this is cancer, he says. See, you people are like women, he says. For everything, he says, you people want to cry. I am telling you, you gargle with milk of magnesia. He said, there is liquid milk of magnesia. I said, yes, Baba. You just gargle with it and spit it out. When I am telling you, it is not cancer. So when Baba said that, so as in Baba's word, that authority, then I had to go to that doctor. My God, my heart was in my mouth. I said, I was praying to Baba, Baba, I only hope he doesn't flare up at me. And I went inside and knocked Have you brought that report, he says, from the Tata Cancer Institute in Bombay? I said, no doctor, we went to Meher Baba and Meher Baba says it is not cancer, and I told him I wanted to write that. So just I was going out, he says, stop. He said, wait. I said, yes doctor. Well, if you have faith in Meher Baba, it's all right. He's like a lamb, he answered me. I mean, see, Baba's authority, I mean, is something which cannot be denied by anybody. It is just the word of mouth, the Baba's authority which makes him accepted it like a lamb. And that same doctor treated Mani couple of times, Mani would come to Pune for a checkup. And so I was sitting outside Mani's room. Mani said, Jangu, you sit outside, it is 5:30, he'll come now, I'll change my clothes. One day before that, he had checked Mani for her kidneys and all that. So he came 5:30 sharp, marching, is a typical chap, I mean a very nice man though. So he knocked and opened the door, very abrupt for everything. So he looked at Mani. He said, where is your Meher Baba button, he says today. Because he observed that button on Mani's blouse one day beforehand, and the next day Mani had changed the clothes in a hurry and forgot to transfer the button. So he looked at that, he says, where is your Meher Baba button? And so, we would go and he would never charge us.
But today, this doctor, he has so much of, respect and love for Baba. And it's the same doctor who operated on all of us, I should say. On Jangu, on Rustam, on Sora, on Parveen, on myself, my daughter, on Mera, every one of us.
And he would say, again you people have come.
And he will not charge us. He will not accept fees from us. He will always say, you pray to Meher Baba, and I shall get a very rich wife.
He got married at a very late age.
And he got married at a very late age, just 4 years back. And he has married a very, very rich girl. He really did get a very rich girl.
This is how life with Baba went on. And so for my job, the last thing, I wouldn't want to keep you waiting for long. This was the last meeting, 1968, October, which Baba had called of the workers to explain that he would give the darshan lying down in April 1969. And I was there for that meeting. So after the meeting, Baba caught hold of my hand. What happened to your job, he said. Baba, those were the days, 2 months before Baba dropped the body. And that was the time when I broke down, I cried before Baba. That was the first time. So Baba called me. He said, you are crying when I am with you? I said, Baba, what can I do? I am trying. No better job is coming. No, you should not cry. I told you, I promise you, I'll help you out, but you should. I said, yes, Baba. Everything was forgotten. Baba dropped the body in 1969. See, when we were used to, for everything, we were dependent on Baba. For asking, for even the minutest things, Baba, shall we do this? Baba, shall we do that? What should we do? Shall we do this? And so, Gulnar read a small advertisement in one of the local newspapers asking for a managerial job in Pune for a commercial vehicle dealership organization. She said, Jehangir, why don't you apply to this? I said, I have been trying for 10 years now, where is the question of my applying? But since you say so, I just scribbled most half-heartedly on a piece of paper. I said, let it go. If it comes, otherwise forget about it. So they called me for an interview to Bombay. So, I went for an interview nicely. And they said, well, if you are willing to work in Pune, we'll offer you this job. I was very happy. I told Gulnar, I said, they are offering me a new job in Pune. But now, physically, if Baba were to be present, I would have asked, Baba, may I take this job now? This is a new job. So anyway, I told Mani said, Jangu, you leave it to Baba. Baba has to give us an answer, or you an answer. After all, Baba is present even today. And so in April, when the great darshan took place, that letter was in my pocket. So the thought was, when I took Baba's darshan and I prayed, I said, Baba, at least let me have an answer. Khan Sahib Sarosh, you have known of Sarosh Irani, who was there in Guru Prasad, his usual huge, hefty man. So he patted me. Hey, Jangu said, Sarosh, what's wrong? He talked. I said, Sarosh, I have received a letter from a new company. Let me see that letter. And he read. He's an old friend of mine, he says. Take the job, he says. The man who has written this letter is an old friend of mine. And I was seeking an answer whether I should take the job or I shouldn't take the job, just outside Guru Prasad on the veranda. So I told Mani. Mani says, you have your answer. Baba says, Saroj says, take it. It is Baba who has answered you. And so I came home. I told Gulnar, I said, I am now taking up this new job. And you know, I had a moped, a scooter, you know, we call it in India, because in Guru Prasad, I would always take errands for Baba. Baba would always say, where is your scooter? You go and do this job. So I said, let me start my scooter the next day and go back and report to this new office. In the meantime, there was a knock at my door and there was a peak-capped white chauffeur, you know, standing there. So we said, sir, there is a car, I have brought your car. I said, have you knocked at the right door? I said, car? For me? I have always been used to the bicycle or the moped. No, he says, sir, the office car has come. So I told Gulnar, I said, Baba has given me a job. I didn't expect Baba would also ask the company to provide a car, and that was a chauffeured car for me. So we prayed to Baba, thanked Baba, and I went to work. The next day the telephone man comes and I said, look, I haven't asked for a telephone. No, he said the company has already given instructions to install a telephone in your house. So the thanksgiving to Baba was there, you see, a job given by, I mean, this is how, you know, problems are there, but then Baba, how the way he sustains us, we have to go through, as I always tell, the ringer, you see. Not once, twice, thrice, 4 times. But then, you know, we become more and more stout-hearted. Baba is always there, and there is no question of any doubts about it. And so life goes on and on and on and on. We have kept you waiting for such a long period.
अवतार मेरे बाबा की जय, अवतार मेरे बाबा की जय, अवतार मेरे बाबा की जय.
Thank you all for a very
Thank you very
patient
much.
hearing. We hope you have enjoyed and not bored you with all these stories.